What's up, baby?
Turkey killing mofos. Hey, you a professional now.
You got her? Heck yeah, man. That's awesome, dude. Hell yeah.
Storytelling in regards to hunting and fishing has gone back hundreds of thousands of years.
Yeah.
Literally on the rock walls of our nation.
Push it.
Yes, sir.
What you doing, Brandon?
Go. By the way, your nipples are already wet.
I just shot probably one of the most epic scenes, probably ever. These two monster bugs got after it, and it was so cool.
That's about like what you want it to look like. Cover it.
Oh, he's so handsome.
That's a big deer, Megs.
He's big. He's a big boy. That's talking whitetail.
That's what I'm talking about, baby.
Holy crap.
Look at those hooves.
Everybody wants to be a turkey hunter until it's time to do turkey hunters.
Bottles. Trying not to get spit up on, you know. All the cool dad things.
So are you getting it all figured out yet or no?
Oh no. I'm trying my best though. I'm trying my best. No, it hasn't been bad. He sleeps pretty good. Once he goes down, he sleeps pretty good.
He fights or no?
Yeah, a little bit. He'll be chilling, just, playing and everything. And then, it's like time to take a nap. And you're like, should have fell asleep by now. Or like going down for the night. And he's like, nah, I think I want to stay up with y'all. And we're like, all right, cool. We'll keep playing. And then about 5 minutes after that, he's just like, wants no part of it. And
if you can catch them right before they go into that total meltdown mode.
Yeah.
But after meltdown happens and they get overtired,
yeah,
man, it's brutal.
Yeah. It's funny. Megan said that like one day he was crying and her watch asked her if she was okay because she was in a loud environment.
No, I'm not. Thank you.
Yeah. So I don't have a watch, so he won't tell me. But yeah, he's got some lungs on him for sure.
That's awesome though. It's the most fun you'll ever have.
Oh yeah. And I mean, it's like 1 minute he's like screaming your ear off, and then like he'll calm down, and then it'll just be like holding him. They'll just look up at you and just like, and now it's to the point he's smiling, like right on the verge, like letting out a giggle. So he'll just look at you and just like, oh, you love me. It's okay. We'll make it to another day. But nah, it's been fun for sure.
I'm shutting my email down so it doesn't ding while we're.
Oh yeah, I probably need to do the same thing to my phone. But yeah, I just wanted to get you obviously on the podcast. You've been doing cool stuff like you always do, and I want to hear about it. Not really worried about the listeners; they just get the byproduct of all the stories and everything. But just want to welcome everybody to another episode of the Tejas Hunt Club Podcast. I'm your host, as always, Brandon McDowell, and today I'm sitting down with a fellow hunter and an international man of travel and a fellow Brandon, Mr. Brandon Bredemeyer, and we're going to talk about what he's been doing lately. He's been on the podcast before, so go check out those episodes when he was, chasing ibex in Spain and fishing in the Amazon and probably helping volunteering and with SCI and I'm going to throw it out there. One of the best SCI chapters there is, the West Texas chapter, the best chapter there is, the West Texas chapter of SCI. Shout out to all the people involved in that organization. We always love going to their event and creating content for them. So just wanted to get him back on the podcast because he recently returned from New Zealand which we had a lot of people that we've had on the podcast in New Zealand kind of at the same time. I was talking to Philip Zuntik, and he said he ran into you at the airport and everything. And I'm like, man, it's cool because like obviously we're all tied together by hunting, but it's like it makes me feel cool. It's like I know that person is there, and I know that person is there, and then y'all get to meet. It's just cool.
Yeah, at the end of the day, you'll find out that it's just a really, really small world. You know, you run into people all over the place that you least expect it. You know.
Yeah. But I know, like I said, the last time you were on the podcast, you're coming back from Spain and everything, and then I think that was like maybe right about this. Was it this time last year, or was it in the fall?
It was November.
Yeah. In November, the fall. Yeah. And then, of course, like I said, on the podcast when you were down in the Amazon fishing for peacock bass and all that. And then, like I said, you went to New Zealand, which is, I think, any true big game hunter, I think New Zealand is on their list. If they know anything about international travel, just like, I mean, red stag, we have red stag here in the States and everything, but like going over there and hunting them which is essentially the Lord of the Rings country, you know, has to have a little extra built into it. I'm not a Lord of the Rings fan. I never watched the movies or read the books or anything, but I can kind of get how people, you know, get into it and everything. I read all the Harry Potter books, so it's like kind of that same thing. But like being able to like go over there and hunt in the fog and the mountains, and I mean, I was listening to Go Hunt's podcast. They went over there and hunted tar, and they did like a DIY tar trip. So they didn't even like go with a guide or anything. They had some friends, some Kiwis, as they call them, that lived over there. That was one of their camera guys. And they went hunting with him, and they were talking about how tough that trip was. But, kind of tell me where's New Zealand been on your list like this whole time? Like it's been something you've been planning? Was it like just opportunity pops up, or how did red stag, you know, and everything else that you shot get entered into your brain?
Man, it goes back a long time for New Zealand. To be honest, I remember as being a little kid, like that was always something that was on the top of my list. I mean, the stag just looked so prestigious and proper, you know, in the way that they would look at you and be trotting up a hill and then turn around and look back. I mean, so there was a bit of nostalgia, you know, getting to that country and seeing stag and things like that. It bring me back to like how I felt when I was a kid when I saw one. I was like, man, one of these days, you know, hopefully I'll get the opportunity to go do that. So that's kind of where it started for me. When it came to the planning process, we were originally planned to go in 2021, and I think everybody knows kind of what happened in 2020 that kind of messed things up travel-wise over there. So unfortunately, it took us this long to kind of get things worked back out and everything from a schedule standpoint. So it was absolutely worth the wait, because it's truly one of the prettiest countries you'll ever see. It's absolutely gorgeous. Some of the prettiest water you'll ever see. Just a very, very neat country.
Oh yeah, I mean, I obviously it's separated from a lot of you know, the rest of the world, but like even seeing pictures and videos like you posted, and then like Philip and Jessica posted, and other stuff I've seen, it just, like you said, it looks clean, like nobody's been there. Like you can actually look and get out on a place and kind of feel like, you know, nobody else has been here, even though probably not true, but it still has that same feeling, it looks like to me. Whereas like you can go some places and like you'll see trash and everything else, and it's like, yeah, you kind of know that, you know, people have been here, and the rest of the world is still going on. You're not like some first explorer reaching a new country or something like that, like in the old days. You make it all romantic and everything, but you know, that's what it looks like to me too.
And to be honest, I mean, those rivers were so clean. I would have dipped this cup down in them and drank straight from the river. I mean, it was the prettiest water I've ever fished. I mean, absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, and you went fishing too, and it's like there's so many different things to do over in New Zealand, which is crazy because none of the animals that are there are native. So
Correct.
it's kind of like you said, a sportsman's paradise just off by itself. Like it's cool to tell people about stuff, but hey, man, it's accessible to a lot of people if you really like do your research. Like I said, Go Hunt did the DIY deal, and it's like, man, that's a trip you can kind of do maybe every other year if you sacrifice, hunting something else here.
Yeah, I mean, so in the South Island is really kind of where a lot of the DIY is at. That's where the tar and chamois are at. Um, to I didn't hunt in the South Island, so I can't say. So don't take this for fact, but I
Yeah,
think that there's a lot more um, uh, communal or government land in the South Island than there is the North. It seemed like the North was very privatized. A lot of
yeah,
farms and of course, cattle and sheep are really really big there. Sheep especially. Uh, so I saw a lot more of that traveling across the country in the North Island than I did in the South. It seemed like.
I got you. I got you. Yeah, I figured they'd probably run sheep. It looks like good country for it. And then I've seen some of the other, like I said, like other videos and stuff of New Zealand, and you kind of get a mix between both of the private side and then some of like the government side. But I like, how do you, like, I know you were there for a while, right? So you got to do multiple things, and I think a lot of people when they're traveling, especially that far, like how far is the plane? How long is the plane ride?
Direct from Houston is like 14 and a half there
Mm,
and about 12 coming back.
mm, mm.
It's not that bad.
Listen, the
I've been
farthest,
on worse.
like the farthest place I've flown on a plane, Brandon, is from Houston. Did we fly? No. Austin to Las. I guess it would have been coming back from San Diego to Austin, but that's the longest flight I've been on. Like even when we went on our honeymoon down to Belize, it's like 2 hours. Like it's an hour,
Yeah.
little 45-minute flight to Houston, and then 2 hours from Houston. So that's been my limit so far, luckily. But I know I'm gonna have to go a little farther sooner or later. But I'm gonna have to get there incrementally, like 14 hours. Like now, like if you were to tell me, Brandon, you're going to New Zealand and you got to be on a 14-hour plane ride, like the next one I take is 14 hours, it's going to be a little stressful.
Man, it's not as bad as you think. You just kind of got to button it down just a little bit. A little bit of torture is worth the end result.
Oh yeah, I mean one day we'll get there, but I can't sleep on planes very well. Like that's
I
my
can't either.
problem. I wish I would have. I wish I was a smaller stature, to where I could fit in the seat a little better. Even like my shoulders, I feel like if I have to sit next to somebody, I just like feel uncomfortable. Like I feel like I'm getting in their way, so I'm always trying to be as small as possible. And then obviously it's not helping me either.
Yeah, that upgrade might be worth it then, because it does give you some more room and makes things a little bit more, I guess, enjoyable, so to speak.
Yeah.
I don't think any flight necessarily is enjoyable, but
Right. But like I said, so 14-hour plane ride. I'm filling my cup up with Topo. Sorry for y'all listening. I wish they'd sponsor us because I go through it a lot.
thanks for sharing.
But yeah, 14-hour plane ride. And like you said, when y'all had planned this trip out, it was from a while ago. Like you said, you couldn't go in 2021. Was everything was stuff added on between 2021 and now, or was like that with the plan that y'all did pretty much the plan that y'all were going to do back then?
Oh, for sure. I think we were kind of a little bit better prepared on what we wanted to do this go round than we were in 21. So kind of the way that we organized it is when we got there, we flew directly to the South Island and just relaxed and spent a few days down there sightseeing. Bungee jumping was born there, so that was something that my wife had to do, and one of the other others that we were traveling with. So I was the smart one, for insurance purposes. I had to stay on the on the ground. But no, it was fun. There's a lot of wineries in that area of Queenstown, and just did the glaciers and went and saw Milford Sound. I mean, just saw some really really pretty things. So it was good just to like kind of wind down, I guess, after the travel and get to relax. And then
Yeah,
we traveled north to the ranch and started hunting up there.
I got you. So is this I guess, how did you pick this place to go? Because I mean, I'm sure there's quite a few you can choose from. Or have you known about this outfit for a while?
So we hunted with Shane Quinn's Alpine Hunting New Zealand. I know that you've met them at our show here in Midland.
Mm-hmm.
They've been a big supporter of the West Texas chapter for as long as I've been involved. I think they're going on like 25 years. So
Oh wow,
they were one of the first outfitters to really support our little local chapter. So it was to me it was a no-brainer in selecting to hunt with those guys. There's a lot of great outfitters in New Zealand. I've yet to hear of anybody that had a poor time or a bad experience. So there's something to be said there. But everything in New Zealand, I mean, from my perspective and my experience was first class. I mean, we didn't have to really do a whole lot of anything, go out of our way to do anything. It was taken care of for us. Travel was seamless, on time. Flights weren't delayed. I mean, you name it, it all flowed pretty well. So
yeah, good. Did you take your guns over there, or you just used what they had?
I did not. I mean, as much as we were traveling in country and stuff.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Before and after the hunt, I didn't want to mess with it. It is relatively easy to get your firearms into New Zealand. I've heard that there are some challenges even for bow hunters when you get into the larger cities and try to check that equipment into a hotel. I've heard that they take them and then they put them in a secure area. Philip may be able to tell you. I think they took a bow with them, and that may have been their experience with a bow as well. Once they were traveling back into like Auckland or something.
Yeah. Oof. Yeah. That's a little not, and it's not even the fact of like somebody stealing it. Like you don't have your eyes on it, but like how are you treating that weapon? And that, I mean, we buy nice cases and stuff, but still, like if they don't know and they just like throw it around, like, and then something's off and you shoot an animal that's bad or something, like, I'd be wanting to like check zero. At least with a bow, you could just like, I don't know, maybe I know they have like a sports like outdoor store there, maybe get a target or a hay bale or something and just check zero. But with a rifle, it's like you got to have a range and do all that stuff. So I mean, yeah, I think on those international trips, it's almost just easier just to use what they have there.
Yeah, it's easier to travel, to be honest. I mean, we've traveled with and without firearms, and to be honest, that's one less thing to worry about during the travel is worrying if your firearms are going to make it, if you're going to have trouble when you're getting into the country or coming back to the country and everything else. I mean,
yeah.
I don't want to discourage anyone from taking their own if they want to, but it is very easy without. Most lodges and most of the people that I know that outfit in New Zealand, I mean, they have great equipment.
Yeah,
they have good glass, so just check with those guys, see what kind of firearm you'll be shooting in caliber, and just know what to expect. I mean, everything that we shot was good equipment. So nobody in our group had any issues whatsoever.
Yeah, with the rifles especially, I mean, this is what they do. They don't want to obviously set you up with something that's not going to work or not good. So you can probably almost guarantee that they're going to have good rifles and stuff. Like obviously, if you take a bow, it's going to be a little bit different. It's got to fit you and all that kind of stuff. So it's probably better, to bring your own. Right. But like with the rifles and stuff, I mean, they're not going to set you up for failure by any means.
Yeah, believe me, that's not what they want. I mean, they want happy clients and they want you to come back. So
yeah, for some people, that might be the nicest rifle they've ever shot.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
very possible.
Yeah. So when y'all headed up to the ranch and everything, was there like, hey, we're going to go after these animals first or try to do this? Or was it kind of like, we're going to go out there and hunt and we're going to see what we find?
Yeah, really, the first day when we arrived, it was real relaxed. Get our stuff dropped off, and I'm sure that they kind of plan it that way because a lot of people come direct from their overseas flights, so they make it pretty relaxing and everything, and you get in the buggies and go take a look at the ranch and ride around and have a glass of wine and just enjoy like being there and kind of settling in. And then the first day is when we actually started hunting. Um, for what I was after, they were most concerned about being able to get a Rusa. So they're pretty cagey animals, and they don't like the cold weather. So they tend to be brushed up quite a bit. So in the really nasty stuff, which they called it, I guess it's a manuka tree or whatever that's down there, which is where the bees get the manuka honey that's so popular. From a uh, trying to think of the proper word for it, from a herbal remedy type situation.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Thing or whatever. But evidently it's getting really popular in the States, but that's the tree that grows the flower that the bees make the honey out of. But that stuff is extremely thick, and it's got almost a solid canopy on the top. So they stay in kind of that stuff to stay out of the weather, and they really only come out during the direct sunlight to kind of warm up and things like that. They have very little hair on them. So that was the one that they knew was going to be probably the hardest to get. And so that's kind of what our target was starting day one. I think I ended up shooting a Sitka, I think, on day one, but we were initially after the Rusa the entire time.
I got you. Okay, so so red stag wasn't even like your target. I mean, obviously it was your target, but that wasn't the one that was at the top of the list for you. It was that rooster deer.
No, I think I mean it was, but that was what the main trip was about. But they weren't as concerned about having a hard time getting a stag.
Gotcha.
They were a lot more concerned about even with 6 days hunting, that the Rusa might give us some challenge.
I got you. But yeah, I saw that we shared the video of you shooting the Sitka deer, I think yesterday, and it was.
I felt bad about sharing that one. That was the worst shot I made of the entire trip, and that just so happened to be one that we caught on video.
Yeah, it tends to work like that. But I mean, I didn't think it was a bad shot. The animal died.
It worked out. It worked out well. I mean,
yeah, you can't be perfect all the time, but you're not a bad shot. So I mean, there's a lot worse things out there, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's better to be lucky than good. That's what I tell people all the time.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I mean, the last biggest animal I shot with a rifle was that axis deer a couple years ago, and I made a less than desirable shot. It's worse than that one. I'll tell you that. And you feel bad. It's not ever your goal to do that, but it's gonna happen. Especially if you spend a lot of time, as much as you train, as much as you shoot. There's just so many different variables that are out there that can happen that you didn't prepare for. Shooting is hard to do it well.
You're hitting the nail on the head. I mean, that's I see a lot of stuff like the other day a friend of mine posted a bullet debate on Facebook, and it was whether to shoot a soft expanding bullet that doesn't exit, that expels all the energy in, or a bullet that penetrates and goes all the way through and exits. And there's no in between. It's either you're this way or you're this way. I personally am one that wants the bullet to go all the way through. I want a bullet that expands.
Yeah.
That's soft enough to expand, but I want it to be able to be a hard enough bullet to where it holds together and exits. So when you said that expect the unexpected, or you never know what's going to happen, weird things happen, and so all you can do is make sure that your equipment and your experience and your practice and everything puts you in a situation to where if a small mistake does happen, or something weird does happen, that you're still not sacrificing the animal or anything like that. So
Exactly. And like to that, I think I saw, was that Wade that posted that, Chandler?
yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
yeah, I did see that, and I read some of the comments about it and stuff. And I mean, like, it's, to me, it's like, yeah, I wanted to, at the very least, I wanted to make it through. Like, if I can find it on the opposite side, like underneath the skin, you're gonna find that animal at the very best, obviously, all the way through. But like, it's got to be able to do some damage and at least get through the body cavity, in my opinion.
yeah. I texted Wade and I was like, hey, there's sure a lot of people making comments on here that don't have any dead animals in their Facebook stuff. And I said,
Yeah.
and I mean, just from my experience, and I'll kind of tell you why that I want one that goes all the way through is I've shot some animals that the bullet didn't exit, and I hit the animal perfectly, and the animal takes off running, and you try to go track that animal, and there is not a drop of blood.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm literally following a trail where a rock is turned over and things like that, where I trip on a deer that ran 70 yards and didn't bleed a single drop. And I think that's the importance of having a bullet that will hold together, that'll punch all the way through. Because if you put a hole through both sides of him, there's a lot more likelihood that he's going to bleed.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's kind of my philosophy behind it.
Yeah, and if anybody has any doubts to that, think about shooting archery. Would you rather have that arrow go all the way through, or just stick on one side?
Exactly.
It's same thing. But yeah, like that Sitka deer was pretty awesome. I've always been, I don't know, like, Sitka deer look pretty to me. Like, I like them, but it's always been something like just a little bit funny about them to me. Like, it just doesn't, because obviously it's not something that we grow up with. I mean, even like axis deer look like they're like supposed to look. But when I look at a Sitka deer, it's like, man, I think your horns should be just a little bit bigger. But in all reality, they're huge. But just like, it always looks like they should just be a little bit bigger, like maybe closer to an elk or something like that. Just because their bodies are pretty decent size.
Yeah, and they're a lot different over there. I mean, the Sitka were rutting over there, and so they were full blown roaring, and they were all over the place. And so we had the opportunity to do a lot of culling for them because they were all active and out in the open where we could see them. And so the culls that we were shooting over there were typically 6 points, and I would consider the 6 points over there to typical representatives of what we have like in our hill country here.
Yeah.
And those were the ones that they didn't want. They wanted to make sure that they had the proper 8 points with the tops on them and everything else. So that was a pretty cool opportunity. And I would say, I mean, from a meat perspective, Axis is by far still my favorite, but Sitka is a close second. I think that those two are probably the best of the deer species, in my opinion.
Okay. Yeah.
So we ate a lot of Sitka over there. Just about every meal we ate was Sitka.
Nice. Yeah. Because, I mean, everything's bigger over there. Like, we like to see everything's bigger in Texas, right? But like the red stag, the Sitka, everything is bigger over there in New Zealand.
Absolutely.
For one reason or another. It's probably all the clean air and water that they have.
Yeah, and I think that there's a lot of protein in that grass too. I mean, they just do extremely well there.
Well, that's good. That's good. So you get this Sitka down the first day. Was it like was it in the morning or kind of in the afternoon?
That was more like mid-afternoon. That was. We probably went back out about 2:00 that day, and that's when we kind of ran across that one. He was bedded up. Like I said, they were roaring. So during the day, you'd see all the big bulls or stags, however you want to call them, and they'd be laid out under a bush or something like that. And it just so happened that's what we caught that one doing. It was kind of bedded down there, and we made a move on him. Unfortunately, there wasn't much for us to hide from because we were shooting across a canyon. So we're
Mhm.
coming down a mountain face, and he's on the opposite ridge. And so, of course, he saw us, and we finally kind of got him where it made him nervous. And so, literally, like when you see that part of the video clip start, he'd already stood up and was moving around and about to bug out, and I'm throwing the gun down on the ground and throwing myself down behind it and getting ready to take the shot because we thought he was going to just go ahead and go on over the ridge.
Yeah.
But lucky enough, I think me rushing the shot is why I pushed it a little bit there. But in the end, it all worked out well.
Yeah. So you shot it like you like shooting prone better than like say off sticks or like a tripod or something like that?
I mean, yeah, I'd prefer. I mean, that setup had bipods on it, which
Oh, nice.
is all fine and good, but in most cases I like to take my backpack and throw my backpack down and lay the gun on top of the pack. But you know, I can shoot in all scenarios. I think in most cases you have a higher likelihood of making a good shot when you're prone.
Mm-hmm.
But I also like to shoot kneeling with my backpack laid in my lap, so my arms are still rested on the tops of my knees.
Mm-hmm.
Back of the gun is on the backpack. So
I got you.
I don't know.
Okay.
Just a couple different ways to do things, but most of the shots over there were prone.
I got you. Yeah, because I really want to get into more long range stuff like rifle shooting, especially because like shooting a bow's cool. I'm not gonna put my bow down, but like if I want to shoot something with a rifle, I kind of want to have more of a challenge to it. Like I've shot obviously a few things at 100 yards. I've shot I've shot a pig at like 180. And I think that's like the furthest shot that I've made on an animal. Now targets, like I've done the whole shoot at 1,000 deal. I didn't do the dope or anything, but like I got behind the gun, hold it on there and shoot 1,000 yards. Woohoo. But like I'm working on, like, that's why I built a 6 ARC in AR, but like, that's what I'm going to really try to get more into the long range stuff and like making those shots. Cause even when I pick up a bolt gun or anything like that to go hunting, I want the capability to be able to shoot far. Like you go, especially going out west or like going after a big animal. Like I don't want to be like, oh, he's 320. I can't make that shot. Like I want to be comfortable enough and obviously have the skill to do it. And I'm not just going to shoot something that far and not know how to do it. So like I'm always asking different people, like, how do you like to do this? So like have ideas to try out. If something's not comfortable for me, then maybe I'll try it this way or something like that.
Yeah, I think you just have a better success rate and a better chance of making the good shot when you're prone. I think it's easier to hold the rifle steady and everything else. But I think the important thing for most people is just to shoot to your capabilities. Like you said, if you're not comfortable making a shot that's that far, don't risk it. Try to get closer. That's one thing that I've always tried to do in all the situations that I've been in. I mean, I've had to make some long shots when I didn't want to, but there weren't really any other opportunities to close that gap.
Yeah.
So, but to be honest, if it's over 500 yards, there's a high likelihood I'm not going to take that shot on an animal. I might shoot a target that far, but I don't want to risk wounding that animal. I think that the animal deserves more than that from us. You know what I mean? So.
Oh yeah.
So that's kind of just the way that I approach it, anyway.
Yeah. And then like all your stuff is like just you shooting. Like, have you ever taken any classes, any long range stuff or anything like that? Or is it just like time behind the gun and just working it out?
No, I mean, I've mentioned this to you before, but I grew up in the 4-H program. So
yeah.
So I started with rifle and shotgun. And at the time, I kind of migrated more towards the rifle. And then later in my 4-H, before I was getting out, I'd really started taking on to the shotguns more. but that's where I learned a lot of the basic fundamentals was through that 4-H program, and we competed all over the state. At that age, from probably 9 years old on to, I guess I got out at like 15.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where a lot of the basics from the breathing exercises and learning how to shoot prone, kneeling, setting, everything else. So
shout out for
I really encourage if that program's available to get your kids involved with that, because that was really good for me, and I think that's a good baseline to what it leads into in adulthood, is enjoying the things that we do.
Yeah, practical skills. I mean, I played football. It was fun. It was great, but none of those skills really transfer over after I graduated. But yeah, so shout out 4-H and FFA and everything else. I did the same thing. I shot shotguns through 4-H. So should have did the rifle stuff, but it was a little late for me by the time I got started. But yeah, so you make this shot on this Sitka deer, and you get your first animal down, which I'm sure is like a sigh of relief, especially with going over like to a new country. And it's like there's always that little message in the back of your mind. It's like, man, if I leave here with nothing. But I don't think that was ever like, it's not ever valid in any shape or form, but it's always there. But so I know you weren't the only one hunting in your party or whatever, but like, were y'all like kind of like hunting together, or just everybody kind of split up and go do their thing throughout the day, or how did that work?
The ranch that we hunted is pretty sizable, so and if you laid it flat, it would probably more than double the acreage that they had, so that each person kind of hunted in their own separate area of the ranch. Behind this ridge line is where JD was hunting, and behind this ridge line is where Steven was hunting. So I mean, we never ran across each other at all until we were headed back to the lodge.
I got you.
So I kind of hunted like what they would call like the main valley, I guess. Most of the time, I ended up shooting one animal, kind of on the western ridge line, but that was it. Everything else was pretty much in the main valley.
Gotcha. So after the Sitka, what did you chase next?
I think I shot the stag next. I did shoot the stag next, and it took us a full day to find the kind of the one that we were after. We'd seen the one that I'd wanted the first afternoon that we got there, and we're just kind of riding around. But the next 2 days we didn't see him, so we ended up getting eyes on him, and we were on a high ridge on a far side, overlooking. So we were probably 800 or 900 yards from him. So we ended up taking the buggies all the way down the backside of that ridge, and then skipped a ridge over, and then we made a move from that ridge line all the way down to where we ended up getting a shot at him. It was unfortunate for us. It was a lot wetter than I thought it was going to be. I mean, it rained just about every day on us. So
yeah,
but the
that's what they
unfortunate
said
thing
on that Go Hunt podcast too. Like it was just rain all the time.
Well, and the bad thing about it is like it'll be really cold in the morning where you want to wear a jacket and stuff, and then the afternoon it's hot and muggy and humid. So by the time we were making our move to go down the mountain to get to where we could get a shot, it's getting muggy and hot,
Mm-hmm.
and so we finally get there and are about to get set up. We get a glimpse of him, and he's just going into this thick brush, and so we kind of got to a better position where we could set up, and that way, when he did stand up, we would have a pretty good opportunity if he went either direction. So anyway, we're sitting there, and we probably weren't there 5 minutes, and I'm talking, it starts raining, and it's pissing down rain. And like I said, it was hot and muggy, so neither one of us, the guide or myself, had any rain gear with us.
Yeah,
weren't wearing it because it's too hot, and I just had my head down. And I'm just sitting there, and it's just running off my hat, and I'm just like, God, this is just miserable. Anyway, it all worked out. I mean, we were probably there probably 2.5 hours before they kind of started moving and getting antsy, and then there was two bulls together, two stags together, and it just so happened they walked out perfect the way that we'd hoped that they would walk out, and ended up getting a shot. It was probably, I don't know, it was a chip shot, probably 250, 275
Yeah.
from them. So it worked very well for us.
Heck yeah. Were they roaring at a, or was it their breeding season, I guess?
Yeah, when we booked, it was they kind of do it based on the moon phase, is when their roar is going to be. So when we booked, we were pretty confident that we were going to be right into the middle or the end of the roar. And I mean, it was truly at the end of the roar. They were pretty worn down at that point. So the good thing for us is they were up feeding a lot more than what they normally would have been.
Yeah, because they were trying to get built back up.
Yeah. So even 2:00 in the afternoon, you'd still catch some bulls out in the open feeding and things like that. So it gave us an opportunity to see a whole bunch of stag. But there was probably 4 or 5 hinds that we saw that were hot that bulls were on. But for the most part, like I said, they were pretty much done.
Yeah. That's one thing. If you have not heard, I mean, it's all these animals from other places, axes, that like their roar and stuff, and then the red stag. We did some work for this ranch, 3S Whitetails. They were over like in between College Station and Huntsville, and we went to go film some red stags for them, and it was in October here, so they were like really like roaring, and this one like. We heard him the whole time. I mean, when we pulled onto this ranch, you could hear him. And this one walks by us, like didn't even care. We were sitting on the side by side, like riding around filming, and he just like walks up, and I mean, like 5 feet, like sitting on the side by side. If I'd have stuck 1 foot out, I could have grabbed him by his antlers, and he's just roar, just right next to us. I mean, you could feel it at that point better than you could like hear it. Like it was real cool. Obviously it's a high fence. They breed them there. And then they were in, I don't know, probably like 50 acre traps. They had a bunch, like there was like 2 stags in one, and then they had a whole bunch of like hinds in there that they were obviously breeding. So, but like just hearing him like, just, hey, this is where I'm at. And he's just like walking that close to us, like it was pretty cool to experience. I mean, hunting them is going to be a whole lot better, but like just hearing them, it was pretty cool.
Yeah, it's absolutely awesome. I mean, even the Sitka there, they were roaring hard, and we were hearing them roar all night long too. I mean, they were fired up.
That's cool when you can hunt an animal like that. Like that's, I mean, I'll enjoy it. Obviously, I like hunting turkeys, and it's because they gobble. But now that I can hunt like 4-legged animals that it got some size to them, it's even cooler.
Absolutely.
So the red stag, is there? It's to me they're a little hard to like score wise or judge, right? Because they're once they get so big, there's just so much stuff going on. Like I imagine that. As a guide, especially to be like, hey, you can get up to like this size red stag, and like over there's some monsters. I've been seeing them come through on Instagram, like some people that were like, there was like one that was like 642 or something like that, and up to 700, and I'm like, how do you? I mean, you just got to sit there and stare at them, I guess, to be able to be like, this is a 400 versus a 475 or a 500. Because like I said, like with elk, they're a whole lot cleaner. You can look at them and like actually see the size. But like to me, red stag, because they have the crowns on theirs, it's kind of like it's hard to judge, man.
Man, they all look big to me, and that was the hard thing about it. Is when they're in that say 350 to 450 range, to me they all look pretty close to the same. But those guides that do that, they are so good. I mean, they can look at them and see them turn once, and they're like, that one's 500, and I'm like, I don't know how you can tell that quickly, but he helped explain it to me a little bit. the bull that I shot is right around 425, and so they have the traditional fronts just like an elk would. So you have
Mhm.
your front, your two fronts, and then their thirds, and then above their thirds they're going to have the crown. So most of the bulls that you're going to see that have that traditional frame are going to be, as long as they're clean, are going to be, under that 450 range typically.
Yeah.
Now, when their crowns come apart and they start having a lot of points in their crowns, and then they add points between their seconds and their thirds,
Hmm.
that's and then you see splits on those and everything else, the score comes up really quickly. And so that's what would be scary for me. I remember, trying to tell, people that were hunting in college on some of the high fence whitetail stuff, like, oh, that deer's 180, and then he shoots him and he's like 240. It's kind of like,
Yeah.
I was always like worried about making that mistake. So
Yep.
I can only imagine what the pressure's like for those guys as well. But like I said, that helped me at least be able to judge a little bit better of what he was looking for, when he's trying to score one. We saw some, obviously when they're over 600 inches, you can tell that they're really, really big,
Yeah.
Uh,
It's a lot of weight for them to carry for sure. I mean, like I said, 600 inches, it's a lot of bone to be sitting on top of your head, and to be like, especially like you said, how thick it was down there. It's like, how do you get through? It's tough for me to slide through this brush. How are you making it through here?
Well, the cool thing about those trees is they're actually really soft.
Okay.
So you can take one and almost bend it all the way over to the ground.
Oh,
So when they're walking through that stuff, they're
you're
truly
just pushing it
through it.
over.
Yeah.
Huh. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. So, like, what was one of the biggest ones that you obviously not? Were you see any ones that were like bigger than the one you shot? Like, what was the biggest one that y'all
Oh,
saw?
I saw one that was probably in the 800 range.
Holy cow!
I didn't even ask. It's just one of those, and I was like, oh my. But
That's
like I said, when they're that big, you can just tell like that's
yeah.
really big.
It's touching those high numbers, but I didn't even know. Like I said, I've seen red stag here. I mean, they get what they get here, but like 800, like I'm just trying to imagine that in my head, and it's like just where all those points go. But it's best just because he's got a lot of like trash. It's not trash, but like different points just coming out and splits and everything everywhere. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, just mass everywhere. I mean that's the other thing that adds up really quick on them is just how much mass they have.
Yeah, I remember Willie Waldrop shot one that was pretty big. Like I think it had more, like a lot more mass, and it was real thick like that too. I mean, they're very, very impressive animals. I mean,
Absolutely.
like
It's like I said when I described them when I was a kid. It just when you see them out there and you see them trotting and throw their head up, it's almost magical. It's just nostalgic for me, just taking me back to when I was a kid. And I was so excited to see one, and it was just everything that I thought it was going to be.
yeah, that's awesome. So the red stag was day 2, or did you say day 3?
It's day 3, I believe.
Okay, so that was it. Now, like after you got those two, the Sitka deer and the red stag is like the Rusa deer is kind of like like your main focus now. You can dedicate all your time to that. Or you said you went fishing too. So was it like was fishing taken away a little bit of chasing that Rusa deer?
Man, it's hard to say. I mean, all along we were looking for Rusa, so we were waiting for it to happen. So it was more by happenstance that we took the other animals first.
Yeah,
I guess. So the Rusa ended up being the third one that I took, but I believe that was on the 4th day.
okay,
And so that happened in the morning. That was the first. It was actually a morning that they had the first frost. Like I said, it had been rainy and kind of cloudy the entire time that we'd been there, and it just so happened it all cleared off and a front came in, and it was just super crisp that morning when we woke up. So luckily, there was one little bank of clouds there that kind of blew across the mountain. And so when the sun first started coming up, it was behind that bank. But as soon as it cleared, it was like we started seeing Rusa everywhere. But that ended up being the first frost of the season. So, like I said, they don't like the cold weather at all. So
Yeah.
as soon as that sun peeked out, they were all
out trying to warm up
on the clay pans trying to warm. So, yeah. So as soon as we saw him, I mean, we went directly from there trying to make a move, and it probably took us, I don't know, probably 30 to 45 minutes to move down the mountain to where we could get a good shot and a good angle on him. But they're super cagey and they have very, very good vision. So, like I said, how dense that manuka is, especially the canopy. We were working through that stuff trying to get down to him, and super quiet. Everything's wet, so we weren't making a lot of noise or anything. And as soon as we stepped out just to try to take a look to see if he was still there, I mean, they already had us pegged and they were nervous, so we slid straight out. And like I said, this is one of those things where you like to be on the sticks or you like to be laying down prone. Well, I was on a mountain slope that's like this, so there was no shooting prone to the next mountainside. So I shot that one sitting, and it just happened super quick. It was just like he's about to bug out. All the other ones had kind of started moving to the brush and were on the way out, and he's the only one that's standing there still. And so it had to happen fast, and I shot that one actually sitting, and that was probably one of the longer shots. He was probably right close to 300 when I made that shot.
Golly, that's one thing I can honestly say that that's one position in shooting that I've probably done the least is like sitting. And it's probably one that comes in handy because, like you said, if you're on a slope, you're obviously not going to stand because you're not stable, and then you can't lay down prone. That sitting is probably the next best thing that you can do to get a stable shot. And I can honestly say, if I was in that situation, I'd kind of be SOL because I haven't really done it that much.
Yeah. And something that's really unique about the Rusa, for one, the way that their horns are shaped, they have almost daggers coming straight out, so they end up killing a lot of each other during the rut because they end up impaling them.
Yeah.
But the other interesting thing is that the way that their chest cavity is shaped, it's shaped more like an American bison, so it's really narrow and tapered, but the rib cage is extremely short. And oddly enough, like their lungs and their heart are well behind the shoulder. So like if you try to shoot one in the shoulder, you're going to be completely in front and above
everything
of all the vitals. So it's not gonna do anything to other than potentially break their shoulders.
Yeah.
But everything is extremely low in their body, and it's like their diaphragm is way far back. I mean, it's just really, really interesting on how their shape is. I've never seen another deer like that.
Huh, that is real different. I mean, it makes sense them being from where are rooster deer native from?
I believe they're from like Australia or one of the other little islands there is where they're native to, I believe.
Gotcha. So like it's always, I mean, it looks like a deer, but like everything's body's shaped different. Like if you go to Africa, they tell you to shoot farther forward, don't shoot so far back. And it's like every animal, although similarly shaped on the outside, is not the same at all on the inside. And I think that's probably one thing that I believe in, that most hunters, when they go to a new species, is probably not the thing that they check. Like that gets left off the list, is to actually know how the animal's organs and everything are set up to make a shot.
Yeah, I highly recommend A Perfect Shot. I think there's more versions of it now that kind of cover different species, but it was primarily done for the African animals. And anybody that's going over there, I highly recommend getting a copy of that book. It shows different angles where everything's located. So I know it was very helpful for me going over there the first time to have something to reference, and because like you said, everything is so different from what we're used to in North America.
Mm-hmm.
Their vitals are all forward in that situation.
Yeah. So we get the Rusa down. Is I don't know. It's cool to talk about, like, you said you've wanted to do this for so long, since you were a little kid. Was it oddly, like, I don't want to say, I want to say, like, disappointing because it's over and you've accomplished it, right? And it's like, I want to, like, you've been longing for something for like so long, and it's like, well, man, like, now I've done it. Like, how does that, I guess, how does that feel? Like, was it the accomplishment of, like, getting it done outweighing, like, the, I guess, the longing for something, like, you when you're trying to work for it?
Man, it's hard to explain because I don't think that you're like, for me. I'm always still wanting to go back. I mean, that was such a good trip. That's one that I would definitely consider doing again. I mean, I do plan to go back and hunt the tar chamois and sandbar.
Yeah.
But I would potentially, go after stag and Rusa again, or Sitka for that matter. One of the guys that went with me, that was their fifth time to go to New Zealand. So they've enjoyed New Zealand so much they've gone back 5 times in the last, I don't know, 6 or 8 years.
Oh, nice. Yeah, so it's not like a hunt. It's like, okay, I've accomplished this. It's like you can go back again and probably not necessarily have the same hunt,
Right.
or
Yeah.
for the same animal. Yeah.
Yeah,
That makes
and
sense.
they've got additional species there. Like I mentioned, sandbar, alpine New Zealand, alpine hunting New Zealand is one of the only ones that has the sandbar deer behind a fence. So that's a relatively rare species. They're actually from China originally.
Mm-hmm.
That would be very, very difficult to get otherwise.
Yeah, unless you're real lucky and get to go down to oh dang, what's that ranch right out?
Port O'Connor.
Yeah,
O'Connor
right outside of Port O'Connor. Yeah, where they have them down there.
Powderhorn.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the Yeti guys own the other half of that ranch.
Yeah, something. Yeah, so I remember something like that. But, like, that's one of the only places that I think has them in the abundance that they do over here on this side of the world.
Very true. But yeah, so like I said, the next time I'd go, I would do the sandbar and tar and chamois. But yeah, like New Zealand, Spain, Africa, I'd go back more than once. Absolutely.
Yeah, I was talking to before Jared, my buddy. He just got back from Africa, but we were talking before we did a podcast before we went, and we were like, man, it's like now, because I put in for New Mexico, didn't draw a tag. I mean,
same.
I didn't do, like, I don't know, like, I feel like I'm not doing all the work that I need to do, obviously, because I'm not drawing a tag. So it's like, is it? And I mean, for me, it's like, I'll still want to try. I'm still going to throw my name in the hat. But, like, all these other hunts and going all these cool places are starting to, like, really creep up higher in, like, me wanting to do versus, like, I'm gonna put in for a tag. I'm going to go out west and, like, hunt whatever animal it is. And it's like, well, what kind of experience am I going to have? And, it's not necessarily me going and, like, shooting an animal, right? Like, I get it. I'm gonna have to pay my dues, but it's like the dues that I can't control. Like, if I show up to a place and there's 30 other people in this spot, it's like, yeah, you got to find somewhere else. And I mean, like, for those guys out there, it's a lot easier to hop from Wyoming to Colorado to Montana, but, like, driving from Texas and heading out there, it's like you kind of want to drive as least as possible once you get there.
Yeah, and in those situations too, you're dependent on weather too, because certain draw areas maybe at lower elevation, and it hasn't gotten cold enough to push them down, or you get drawn in stuff that's higher elevation, and the weather's already come in and it's pushed them down out of that unit now. So
yeah,
that's always I guess a risk you take, but given the opportunity, if God willing, I ever get drawn,
Yeah.
I'm still going to go.
Exactly.
regardless,
I was talking to my buddy Bobby the other day. He came down for his family reunion, and he lives in Colorado. And I was like, hey man, like I know you've been hunting he's been hunting pretty hard for elk the past couple years. He's had some opportunities, but he's came up short. He's killed a mule deer, which was pretty cool. And I was like, man, so you put in for this year? He's like, no, I'm just gonna do general over the counter. And I hadn't really got into it and asked him, but I obviously I know he pays a cheaper price for his tags. But do you know how much residents pay for an over the counter elk tag in Colorado?
$400 or $500.
$50.
Wow.
Guaranteed. Not $50 and I have a chance of getting a tag. It's just like us going to Academy or going online and buying our tags here in Texas, and it's like $50 and you have an elk tag and you can go hunt elk in the unit whatever that you draw in. But I'm like, I'm not saying, and you have all these states that are coming up with like making non-residents. I wholeheartedly agree. A non-resident should pay more than a resident to go hunt in a state. I'm not arguing that at all. But if my buddy can pay $50 for an elk tag and guaranteed one, and then here we are paying $1,200 for a chance at one, can we meet in the middle? Can we just $500, $600? Like I'd be cool. But like I think Montana went up on their tags. I think Idaho's going up on theirs, and I'm like I get it. Non-residents should pay more, but it's like, golly, we're moving those up. I mean, I'm sure those residents will pay $100 for one.
Oh, of course. I mean, I think there's a lot of improvement opportunity on every draw system, because I don't think that any state has it figured out perfectly.
No, not at all.
I tend to think that New Mexico's format is better, but you don't get rewarded for putting in.
Yeah,
it's a random draw, but for the guy that hadn't been putting in for 30 years,
yeah,
a random draw is a pretty good opportunity.
Pretty good chance.
Lenny got drawn for the desert sheep tag in New Mexico last year. So, I mean, it happens. He's an out-of-stater too. So
yeah, so it happens, but it's just like win. Just keep throwing your name in the hat.
You can't win if you don't enter.
That's very true. And I mean, I've kind of slacked on New Mexico. Just like it wasn't a state that I applied in. Like this is my first year doing it, so it's definitely going to be one I apply every year from now on. I was actually talking to Taylor Weems, and he was the one that was like getting me, because I've been talking to him about going. I really want to go shoot antelope, and he's like, "Man, hey, did you put in for New Mexico?" And this was like 3 weeks out, and I was like, "No, but I'm gonna get to it." And then it was like a week out, and he was like, "Hey, did you put in for New Mexico?" I was like, "Dang, no, I forgot about it." And then the day before, he was like, "Please tell me you put in for New Mexico, because it closes tomorrow." And he goes, I was like, "I haven't." He goes, "Look, man, here's a chance." He shot me a unit to attempt to draw in, because I had never done it, and he kind of like walked me through it and everything. He's like, I know you really want to go shoot an antelope, so at least throw your name in the hat."
Yeah. Well, and I think since New Mexico changed theirs, I think that there's only 1 or 2 units now that you can even draw an out-of-state tag in for antelope.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, but it changed significantly. The odds when they switched over a few years ago on the out-of-state deal.
Gotcha. Yeah, it was like it was in like the southeast corner. Yeah, in New Mexico. It wasn't that far from I think it was like 4 hours or 4.5 hours away from Midland, Odessa.
Yeah. There's actually some really good goats there, like just due west of Lubbock. If you drew a line across state line there, there's some really good goats in there. That's where I actually hunted, was around Tatum.
Gotcha. Yeah. So that's we'll try again next year. I got some points in Wyoming, but they're just going up on their stuff on hunts. So I mean, like now it's like I'm just gonna try and stack as many points as I can get and try to cash them in when I can, because applying every year is obviously not gonna work.
Yeah.
But it just fight Point Creek. But I mean, it's part of it. Find
One
some
thing
good.
I did.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. One thing I was going to mention was about the water because, like I said, we did do some fishing down there, but that ranch has about 2 miles of river frontage on one of the bordering sides, and it's extremely rough over there. So getting to it is a bit of a challenge, but probably the prettiest water I've ever fished, hands down. The unfortunate thing was that the water was so clear that it made catching fish with a spinning reel a challenge. I mean, you'd see the fish in there, and I'm talking, I probably didn't see a fish that was smaller than about, say, 22 inches or so, 22 inches.
And these are trout?
Trout, yeah. And I'd pitch to them, and they'd see it hit the water, and they weren't interested at all. They just so that was kind of the unfortunate thing. But like I said, that was the prettiest water that I've ever fished, and I've fished all over, New Mexico and Colorado, and just gorgeous.
Yeah. I mean, it like I said, it looks like another world. And it's like I say, guessing why they filmed Lord of the Rings there. But
yeah,
I mean, you can kind of go to Alaska and some of those places and see that still. But I think, like you said, like going over there, it's a little bit different. And it's like you said, it's just so clean and just looks so clear. It'd be fun to chase animals over there and fish too. Because I mean, I think their saltwater stuff is pretty good also, from what I've heard.
Yeah, I'm not really familiar with it. Like most of my fly fishing guys are gonna shun me now that I casted a spinning reel at a trout. But
yeah, I'm sure.
But no, I mean, I've known guys that have just gone over there just to fly fish, and the same thing for Australia as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So there's definitely an opportunity. I know that there's a lot of saltwater opportunity in Australia as well.
Yeah, definitely. I know that they've caught some of the, I can't remember, was it cons or something like that? They catch some of the biggest marlin down there around Australia, one of the islands that's off of there. I've got into a little documentary that they were doing about that, and I watched it. It was pretty good on YouTube. But I'm pretty sure it's cons. It's like CANNES or something like that. Yeah. But yeah, there's a lot of opportunities over there on the other side of the world.
Yeah.
To go chase animals in the water and on land.
Yeah, Australia's still on my list too. That's one place that I haven't been. And then of course my wife looked because the only continent she hasn't been on is Antarctica, and there's actually a flight out of New Zealand to Antarctica.
Oh, so the next trip,
there.
to go to Antarctica. That'd be pretty cool. You can't hunt penguins, but it'd be cool to just go look at them. I guess somebody would be real upset if they found out you were hunting penguins.
So yeah, she's looking that up. And the last time we were in Chile, there's actually a cruise line out of Chile that you can take to Antarctica too. So she was trying to get us on that, and so it's obviously something that we're gonna have to check off of her bucket list. One of these days.
Yeah, that's cool being able to go to all 7 continents. There's a guy I heard of. Let's do a podcast Dale Brisby had, and there's I can't remember his name right now, but he's cowboyed on 6 continents.
Wow.
So he's worked cows on all 6 continents. Obviously, there's no cows in Antarctica, so he can't do that. But he was like, if they ever put any there, like, I want to be the guy that goes over there. So that's even like a smaller group of people that have worked cows or, in the ag industry on all 6 continents.
That's awesome.
Yeah. But yeah, like I said, just traveling around and seeing different things is the way to go. If anybody has any doubts, you should throw them aside and just go see the rest of the world. Makes you appreciate America when you come back most of the time.
Yeah, well, I mean, and something that that my wife's grandmother always said, because they lived all over the world uh, as well. As they said, if you don't go, you might miss something. So
Yeah,
just go see it.
that's true.
I think that's one of the best parts about going and seeing other cultures and submerging yourself in that is that you learn things. Um, it's interesting to see how other cultures like digest their own set of problems and things like that, and in some cases you're really thankful for what we have and what we afford, because in some of those areas it's pretty impoverished, and uh, they're not worried about the things that we are at all. They're
Yeah,
more worried
exactly.
about eating and where are we going to get water next and things like that. So
Yeah.
uh,
I always tell, like, I used to tell Megan all the time, like, on days when I was like, just didn't want to do something or anything like that. And it's like waking up in the morning and you're already like starting to complain. It's like, I always like went to go brush my teeth and I would like turn on the water and I'd be like, no crocodiles, no crocodiles. We're good. Cause like there's somebody, in the world right now that's waking up or, whatever time zone right now. That's like, I got to go get water.
yeah,
There's a chance I'm going to get eaten by a crocodile. Like that, just be thankful for the problems that you have.
exactly.
Oh man, but yeah, or walking outside, there's a lion waiting on you. Like I don't have to worry about that. That's awesome. I feel for the people, even in Alaska. It's like I'm just taking my trash out and get mauled by a grizzly bear. Like I'm not. I don't want
Yep.
those problems.
Yep. We're blessed. We don't have those.
Yes, sir. Yeah, well, right as of now, thank God. Knock on wood. uh, so did you before you went? Did you do? I know that SEI was doing a bunch of lobbying up on the hill and everything. Did you go to DC for any of that?
So that actually happened the week after I got back. So I didn't get to go this year, for our May board meeting, and that our May board meeting is on that Friday, and then the lobby day is on that Thursday. So
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately, I didn't get to go because I was back to back on time off.
Yeah.
But I did attend remotely on the board meeting and things like that, and talking to the people that were there, I think that was the most attendance that they'd ever had for lobby day in history.
Wow.
So yeah, they had well over 200 people, I believe, if I'm not misquoting that.
Yeah.
Somebody will probably call me out on that, but
Well, that's that. I mean that's good. I mean we'll see what there's a lot of stuff, different states and everything that are going on and trying to get prepped for. I was listening to another podcast with the guy from the Colorado, was it Coloradans for Wildlife Management? I can't remember his name right now, but he was real big with the Prop 127 stuff, and he was saying how they're gearing up for something that's makes that look pretty small compared to what they're trying to do in Colorado right now.
yeah. Every time that a governmental affairs notification comes out from Safari Club, I mean, there's always something about wolves in that mix. And I know that, like, in some of the northern states, like I want to say it's Michigan, if I'm not mistaken, one of the big projects that they're working on now is trying to get the wolves delisted.
Yeah.
Because the population there is becoming a larger and larger problem.
Oh yeah.
So one of the issues is once something gets put on the Endangered Species Act, it never comes off, regardless if it recovers or not. So they're trying to get some headway with some of the congressmen and stuff to submit a way for those animals, a path for those animals to be taking off of that.
Yeah, yeah. That was one thing that I was, and the stuff that I've researched that I thought was pretty crazy was the fact that once, like you said, once animals get put on that list, there's not even a way for them to come off if they did rebound. Like even with the wolf stuff, it's like, well, what is an acceptable number of wolves on the landscape? And
that's it. And there's nothing specific for that area. Maybe they're doing extremely well in this area and not in this area, but this area can't do anything about the problem.
yeah, Exactly. And one of the biggest things I think it shows me is like, if you go to all these other states out east, obviously it's a different kind of turkey, but like there's states that don't have turkeys. And then you come to Texas and it's like, we're trying to beat these things off the feeders with a stick. So you can't blanket, make policy about different animals and stuff for every area. Like hell, you can't even do that in Texas pretty much because it's too big. And you can't do that for, one state in the East and then one state out West and think it's going to work the same.
Yeah, I had a buddy that called me the other day, and he was wanting to go hunt. I can't think what it's called right now. It's escaping me, but the turkey on the Yucatan.
Oh, the oscillated.
Yes, and they're nothing against you because you're a big turkey hunter too, and I've got nothing against turkey hunters, but I told him I said, man, I'm not going to pay $500 to shoot a turkey. I said, I won't even roll the window down of the pickup to shoot one.
And that oscillated one is it's cool to go down there. Obviously, you're getting in with the culture and all that kind of stuff, but that one is like the least turkey hunt of that I want to do, because it's you kind of have to shoot them right off the roost. There's not really like a gobble. There's no really like working them. You're just kind of trying to find them and shoot one. Like, I like calling them. That's what gets me excited. And that's what, that's where I like doing it. And getting them close. Like you can shoot them out far away, like fall turkey hunting. Like I'll probably never, I can honestly say I'll never shoot a turkey in the fall because like I don't want to shoot it with a rifle. Anybody can shoot one, down at the feeder of the rifle, right? But like I want to call one in and get him to like 7-8 yards and like shoot him there with a shotgun, not with a bow and arrow. Like I'm drawing the line there too. Like God put turkeys on this earth to be shot in the face with a shotgun. 12 gauge, 24, 10, whatever you want to do. And if you shoot them with a bow, yeah. If you shoot them with a bow, I'm going to look at you a little funny. Congrats, but I'm going to look at you a little funny. But yeah, I got to finally get one down this season. That was pretty fun. Because I hadn't shot one in a while. I've guided the past couple years and killed them that way. I watched other people shoot them, but like I hadn't got to shoot one in a while. And this one was like, just like perfect, because my buddy texted me on Wednesday. He was like, hey man, I was checking cows today and I saw some birds. And I'm like, I'll be home this weekend. We went down there, woke up Saturday morning, walked out there, me and my buddy Jared, and there was an oil pad or something with a buzzer. So it was boo going off like that. And then them turkeys just hammered on the roost like that morning before the sun even came up. I'm like, yeah, they're a little close, but we'll try it. And I guess there was no hens around in that area because it was like literally all Jakes and those two Toms that were in there, one that I shot and the other one that was there. But like as soon as we started, like sun started coming up, we got about shooting time, we started calling, and they were like, there's girls here. There is girls here. Because as soon as they came and flew down, dude, they were like running to us to where we were. Like they probably hadn't heard a girl in a long time, and they were all excited. One of them didn't make it, but it was a good hunt. It was like shooting time, call him, worked him for a little bit because we didn't use any decoys this time, so they were kind of like looking, this is a little sketch, and I wound up shooting him, and it's like 8:00. Like we can go do something else, but we would try to get on another bird for Jared, but we didn't wind up getting one. But it was a good time when it works out like that. And then I got to take pictures with Haston and everything, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I may not roll my window down for a turkey, but I'll climb mountains to shoot a quail.
Yeah, exactly. You're hooked by a ground nesting bird one way or another. One way or another, ground nested bird is in your mind, because quail, man, that's tougher, I think, than turkeys. Definitely walking wise, because for some places you're gonna be walking just to find a couple coveys. You did get to go quail hunting this past season, though, right? I think I saw it on your page. Y'all went a couple times.
I went a few times. I didn't get to go as much. Of course, I never do because I would do it every day if I could.
Yeah.
But we went down south a couple times, and birds were actually really good. And unfortunately, like I see you have your Three Beavers hat on.
I do.
But our dates didn't work out with Tim and I for another trip down there. He was actually down hunting a ranch. Probably about an hour and a half east of where I was at. So
I got you.
We were hunting the same at the same time. But birds up here were fair. Blues were fair. If the rain holds out this year, we've had quite a bit so far. We might end up with a pretty good season if it doesn't burn us up between now and then.
Yeah, that ain't no lie. It's been hot here, and then it's just been pouring down rain. We had hail and everything else the past couple weeks, but I mean, we need the water, but not all at once.
No doubt.
Stretch it out.
Hey, we out here we don't care. Like we'll take it anytime. Anyway, it's better than not having any at all.
Exactly. But yeah, that's good. You got to get out, and I'm sure Tim's all excited. Is he? Have you talked to him? Is he back from his trip to Africa yet?
Yeah, he got back the other day. I haven't talked to him on the phone. I've texted him a couple times to make sure he's still alive, but I think that was his first trip, of course, and I'm pretty certain he'll be going back now.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. And I'm like those. I know he went with Field Ethos and those guys. I mean, you probably couldn't build a more like perfect group of people that have never met each other, but they're all the same people, especially
100%.
Like following that brand. Like you have to be like a certain kind of guy to be like, this is my people that I'm gonna go hunt with. But yeah, I'm sure he had a great time. I know he texted us and he was like, he went to Kevin Brittingham's house and the owner of Q or whatever. And that was pretty cool. They were actually, they did a demo because they got some new stuff coming out at work. So not Kevin, but like some of the guys at Q were down here at Silencer Shop last weekend.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah. They're going to have some pretty cool stuff coming out here pretty soon. That Mega Fix is going to be pretty legit. And they're going to have it in, I think like 7 PRCs, 6.5 PRCs, some of the bigger calibers. So it's going to be pretty cool.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah. I'm going to have to get me one. Rather sooner than later. But yeah. What else, man? What else you got planned for this year?
Man, not a lot. Like I said, I was pretty mad at quail this past season, but I think I'm going to be even madder this year if we keep continuing to get some rain. So, got the Three Beavers saltwater trip coming up next month.
Nice.
Need to make sure my schedule's open for that.
Yeah. I already got the dove hunt put in my calendar. I put it in when Tim told us last year. So.
Oh yeah, 100%.
We're gonna be there for that.
We're not gonna miss that.
No. I'm looking forward to it. We actually, of course, we'll do that hunt there, and then we picked up a lease in Brackettville. So,
right on.
we're trying to go hunt out there, but we got to go out there and set up stuff and look at it and do all that. It was my in-laws, Megan's parents. They got on it and they got us on it too. So hopefully get to chase some whitetails and all that kind of stuff.
Access too, I bet, huh?
Yeah. They said there's a decent herd, so we're kind of trying to leave them alone for a little bit, so they can proliferate, and not just because it's a low fence place. So I mean, they come and go as they please. I mean, they come and go in high fences too, but on this place especially, we kind of want to make sure they kind of stay around. And I mean, they're nomadic animals anyway. They're gonna move, but make sure they feel comfortable.
Right on.
We're not gonna shoot any little ones by any means. If it's something big, then we'll chase after it.
But as it comes to deer hunting, this will be the second year, unless something changes, that I haven't had a deer lease. So I'll be taking my daughter to the farm to get her a deer here and there. But other than that, man, just
like you said, everything's getting harder. I mean, like I said, we got lucky on this one, and we've been looking for a while because we had a pretty decent one a little north of Del Rio that was pretty good, and we hunted turkeys and we had pigs and everything else, and got off that one. And then, like I said, just looking. I mean, we can find them, but like the prices on them are I can't afford. Good on them for charging it, but
Yeah.
it's just not my checkbook. They're gonna look at me crazy. But we got lucky and found this one, so we'll see how it goes.
Well,
My
good, man.
hopes are
It's
high.
exciting.
Yes,
Make
sir.
sure to send us pictures.
Oh, definitely, for sure. We're trying to go. You try to go fishing too. Got a buddy that guides and everything. And go create some content for him. Try to get on some redfish because I can. It's rough, but I can go without fishing, right? If we're hunting. But Meagan, she cannot. Like, she has to go fishing. So we'll make sure she goes fishing here pretty soon.
Make sure to send me your pins.
yeah, did that too. We'll be around Matagorda, around there. So we like getting back in the marsh and like sight casting them and everything. So yeah, you can get a little skiff and get back there.
Well, that's nothing like us in our fly fishing.
Yeah, exactly. That's Barrett. It's always funny because I should be fly fishing in those instances, but I'm using a spinning rod, and he gets so mad when I'm like missing. And then I'll get on, like, it'll take me a couple times and I'll be missing, but then I'll start putting it where it needs to be, you know. And he's like, man, you know, if you just pick up a fly rod and practice, you wouldn't have to reel all the way back in when you miss. I'm
That's
like,
right.
yes, Barrett, I know, buddy, I know. Just leave me alone. Let me do it how I want to do it. But no, we'll go fishing with him. I got him hip deep into archery now, so like it's going back and forth. I like it.
That's good.
Yes, sir. Well, shoot, man, I appreciate you hopping on tonight and telling me all your awesome stories. Like, I always like hearing them, going to cool places and doing cool things. It always keeps me on track so I can do what I need to do to get to go do that stuff too. So
Yep.
yeah, yeah.
Whenever y'all are ready, let me know. We'll put a trip together.
Oh yeah, I will. We're gonna have to. It'll probably be a little bit because, like I said, we're getting Hastings settled, and then it'll be soon enough time. He'll be like trying to take the gun and everything else from me, and I'll be more worried about him hunting than myself. But
it happens fast, I'm telling you.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna try and I'll give myself at least, you know. I don't know. I was joking with Meagan. I was like, man, you know, I think the age is 6. You can get your license in Texas. So I'm like already trying to. Is it 6 or 7?
I think you can get their. I think they can get their license earlier. I think.
Yeah, I think so too. So I'm like already trying to like plan his first turkey hunt because I can get him a 410 and he can shoot a turkey. We call him in close. Then she was like, "Are you really gonna let him shoot something like that early?" I'm like, "If he can shoot it, yeah, why not?"
I think Greta was 5.
Okay, so it might be 5.
Yeah, it might have been 6, but I know she has to be. I think she has to be 10 to enter into the draw system.
Gotcha.
Any of the draws, I think.
Yeah. Which we'll be doing that too. We'll be doing that too. But yeah, man, I appreciate you hopping on and giving me a little piece of your time.
Man, anytime.
Yes,
Enjoy
sir.
doing it. Thank you for having me, and tell Meagan and Hastings hello for us. And
I will.
Y'all come visit.
We will. Yeah, we're for sure. We'll be out there. We'll bring him, you know, for the convention and everything. It's been pretty cool because my mom is she's able to kind of take off, and like even when we go places, like she can come too and like take care of him while we're doing stuff, and that's been kind of the plan that we've been rolling out here. So it's been working pretty good.
Awesome, man. That's great.
Yes, sir. Well, shoot, man. I'll let you go, and I'll talk to you soon.
All right, buddy.
All right.
Thanks again.
Thanks for everybody for listening. We'll catch y'all next week. Peace.